Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we're here to talk about episode 10 of the challenge USA.
That's right. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And thank you guys for putting up with a new time. We had to push from Saturday, but we are here just in time. We got a couple days until the finale.
Woo! The finale is finally here. I'm pretty excited to see what ends up happening. Like, I wanted this to be concluded. I think it's been a well-rounded season. I've enjoyed it along the way, and so I'm ready to see how it all ends. So, yeah, the timing of it, I feel like it's well-paced this season.
Yeah, it's only the last couple episodes where I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready for an ending here, even though we have a gazillion people still left there to play, but we are going to seemingly lose one female at the top of this 2-hour block this Wednesday coming up, and then get into whatever the final actually is.
Exactly. And I'm just loving this is your first experience with the challenge and you're into it. I know we were bugging you for so long to start watching, and I know this is a little bit different. Really, I haven't. I've been like, just do it, just do it, just do it. I know it's not the exact same thing, but it's nice that you're kind of getting used to the format and just like, the style of show that it is. So I'm pleased.
Completely loving this season. Absolutely. Well, here at the top of episode 10, we see Sarah, Kayla, and Justine doing a little bit of a celebration together, but they're also like, hey, Desi did us dirty. Let's not forget. We're going to get along with her, but never forget.
Never forget. And like, I think Desi knew that was going to happen. I don't think that she's that tight, we'll say, with anybody out of the women. And so, I think Desi's probably like, whatever, it doesn't really matter to me. She doesn't seem to really care that much about like having this group's approval or friendship or whatnot. She's kind of seemingly doing her own thing. So I don't think Desi's bothered.
Yeah, I think Desi's just like, I'm getting to the final and playing my game. I feel like what she's doing. Then we start to get a little bit here of Ben loving Enzo, which I don't think I fully knew. I definitely hadn't heard of Benzo yet.
Yeah, you like their ship name? Are you going to be making Benzo t-shirts?
Me personally, no. But I did think this was interesting that he was like, Enzo's my boy, I love him, but I am working with Survivor.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to this season be hiding some of these relationships or whatnot, because it must be just to have this whole storyline for this episode, so they don't want to spoil it, I guess. But Tyson was talking on his podcast that he didn't really know about this duo either, so it could be maybe kind of like that was it Fab Five situation where it wasn't really a thing, but like they made it a thing for an episode storyline. So it could have been something like that. Like maybe he did make this, comment about like, oh, he's my best friend, he makes me laugh, la la la. And then maybe they did say Benzo as a joke, but I wouldn't be surprised if the producers kind of edited to make it more of a big deal than it actually was.
Right, that it was maybe just now coming up. We do see Ben and Angela talk here as well. She's really emphasizing that she doesn't want to get stuck with anyone crappy in the final.
Which is a fair assessment. Like if you've ever seen the final, you would know that sometimes a final is lost by your partner. There's been seasons where people were running together and they had like with the two guys were, I think they're on a team, and he was carrying one of them up like a mountain because like if your partner doesn't cross the line with you, you don't win as well, or you can't finish that checkpoint or whatever. So, having somebody that's really equal to you in most capacities is really beneficial for most of the challenge or of the finals.
Right. Yeah. I mean, especially Angela, I just can't imagine her being like, I beasted my way and then I lose because of a partner. I would be very, aware of that at this point if I were her as well. So completely understanding where she's coming from. The Daily Code Crossing.
Ooh.
We're on a moving truck. This looks very exciting. We're on the side of a moving truck. We're putting pegs. We got to get to the end. They only have 2 minutes.
And they had to like do a little strategy. So I believe they had 6 pegs that they need to kind of let TJ and production know where they want to place them to assist them as they move their pegs and body across the side of the truck.
Yeah, great. Okay, you got to pick where your 6 pegs are. This is a men's elimination where, obviously we're going to have a man and a woman win, but it is a men's elimination here. But it's very clear that you got to figure out where to put your pegs. Tyson and David are going to go first. Now, I did confirm with our eliminated player here that it was completely random. They pull their names from a bag. They said consistently that's been how it is all season, because you had mentioned maybe past seasons producers placed people, but confirmed that is not happening here unless they're rigging this somehow. But Tyson and David are clearly like, we're test dummies. We didn't know what we're doing.
And what's really interesting is that when I saw what was going on, and I know, I'll preface it with, I know I'm sitting at home, and so I'm going to have the best strategy sitting at home without having any time pressure, camera, people looking, actual moving truck. Like, none of those factors are factoring into me watching. But I would have thought the best strategy would be to put footholes in so that you wouldn't have to worry about moving 2 sets of pegs. And so I came up with that pretty quickly, and I thought that that's what everybody would have done, but it seems like people were more worried about like hanging on in the beginning, and so I was surprised by that.
Where I'm surprised is I feel like by the second or third group is when you figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that Tyson and David don't have it figured out. And then the next team to go is Sarah and Alyssa. And I am surprised here because it looks from my vantage point that Sarah kind of did the same thing Tyson did. And I was like, well, that just lost for him.
Work.
So why? That's surprising. But then, middle of the pack here, I feel like you should have figured something out. The fact that it's not figured out until the very, very end, that's what's confusing here. Dom and Danny are going to go third, the second group of guys, and they get a little bit further. They're going to get halfway down the truck, it seems like. Then Justine and Kayla go. Kayla just like falls, right? Like she's DQ'd.
So Dean Platt, which I'm assuming is Kayla's father, was in our chat, in our comments. And so he said that Kayla said that she had no idea the pegs would slide out so easily. The peg that she was holding onto came out while she was leaning back to try to maneuver the placing another peg. So that's something that we can't tell is happening from the TV, so apparently they're really slippery. If you have pressure on it, Tyson was saying they would stay in place, but as soon as you release any pressure, they would become really loose and really easy to pull out.
Enzo and Ben, we do see Ben have, I couldn't quite follow what exactly his strategy is, but it did look very different than what we had been seeing. I think he put like a mix of high and low, but like across the board. And he is going to get the furthest that we have seen at this point. But then Desi and Angela coming in last year, and Angela is like, I think I'm just going to make some steps here.
Yeah.
And boom.
The only person to complete the challenge and, I don't know, raise the flag or blow the smoke, whatever the end thing was. But like, is that proving yourself? Like now, has she proved herself to Sarah?
Sarah? Excuse me, Sarah? Has she proved herself yet? I mean, this was ridiculous that she's literally the only person to get to the end. It was amazing to watch. You cannot discount Angela at this point. Like, are you kidding me? TJ is basically like, thanks for showing up, Angela. Not sure about the rest of y'all, but thank goodness Angela's here.
I think TJ, I mean, he's, if I'm not mistaken, a happily married man, but I think that he has like a challenger crush on her. Actors, sometimes you get an actor crush on a really good actor or someone that's really good at something that you do or you're involved in. You're just like, oh, I kind of have a crush on that person because they're so great. I kind of feel it for them.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be anything romantic. I think that TJ gets excited about the people who do these things well. I mean, we've seen him make fun of you when you don't do it well.
Definitely.
And to have an entire group of people failing and she's the only one. Yeah, he totally is like loving you as a player.
Mm-hmm.
This was insane. So she's obviously the winner for the ladies. Ben was the furthest for the men, so he's going to be the winner here as well. But then the loser, I think it was the editing that threw me, but I was surprised at our loser here. Were you?
Did you think it was going to be Tyson?
Yeah.
The reason I didn't think it was going to be Tyson because Tyson has such a long reach. So I couldn't tell specifically. I knew it was going to be Tyson or David. I thought that maybe just because like would be so dramatic to have Tyson do the worst and go in, I thought it was a maybe. But just for the fact that Tyson has such long arms, I think that he would have moved more quickly. Even if they got to the same place, he would have been faster than David. So I wasn't that surprised, but surprised in the sense of storyline.
Right. Yeah. Like overall game, Tyson beats David. No, not surprised by that. But like they just kept cutting to Tyson, which I understand he's one of the narrators of the season. So that makes more sense. But the fact that he was like, I'm a test dummy. I didn't know. We did horribly. And then I was, assuming they're going to be like, Tyson, you were last. And he was like, screw this going into the arena. But no, it makes more sense. David did the worst, apparently. He's the loser of this challenge. He's automatically going into the arena, and it is now up to Ben and Angela to pick who goes against him.
And, David, I was giving him at one point, remember us saying, like, what if this is the winner's edit?
Winner.
And then he just, deflated that balloon of mine. I was like, that would have been really fun if you end up being the winner, David. Like, I was rooting for you because it would be such a wild ending.
Right.
But unfortunately, I wasn't upset that he was going to be going into the elimination.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would have been more like, oh no, Tyson, if Tyson was going, but David, it's like, all right, well, we're not really sure how David does in this season, but we've been impressed with him. So I honestly, at this point, think he is going to stay.
Me too.
So he goes into deliberation with Ben and Angela, like, I'm ready to beat whoever. And I was like, yeah, I think he is. I'm there with him.
I mean, everybody there? I mean, I wouldn't want to go against Danny for sure.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily want to go against Ben.
Right, but I don't think he's going against Ben. Ben's in charge here.
Oh right, Ben's in charge. So yeah. So I guess everybody, other than Danny, I think everybody to him would seem like, okay, I think I could take any of them.
Yeah, I mean, he mentions Dom and Tyson, and I think I could really see him beating Dom. Going against Tyson, I mean, I know it's tempting to take out the biggest threat, take his money, but no, I don't know that I see you beating Tyson. But that was it would be very risky. Yeah.
Because if it's something in Tyson's wheelhouse, and Tyson's good at a lot of things, I would definitely be just a little bit wary of making that be the person that I would have called down. Even Dom, though, I know you're saying that he could be confident going against Dom. Dom has a lot of mass. So if it's any of these head-to-head type things, he may not be able to do that well against Dom. But if it's for agility, yeah, 100%, I think he'd do well against Dom.
I hear you on that. Well, David's going to leave and Angel's like, okay, let's talk. She's like, look, Enzo is someone I definitely don't want to run the final with. He's not in our little survivor pack here. Let's put him in. It just makes sense. And Ben's like, no, I like Enzo.
And he could beat Enzo, most likely, in the final.
Right. That's the interesting thing about strategy on this show is the men and women have to have different strategy. they need the women need the weak men out to run well. The men want the weak, like what, it's different, right?
Yes, exactly. Like they don't have the same objectives for both men and women.
Yeah.
So that's why it kind of makes it interesting to have two of these people in power having to come to an agreement. This is just one way that they've done this, but there's definitely been other ways that they've formed the power couple, or sometimes it's called like the troika, where it's like three people who, are going to be having to come to an agreement about something. So they definitely don't always just do it like male female power couple.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it definitely changes the strategy when people have competing interests.
Well, Ben's going to be like, no, I'm not putting Enzo in. I think that David's suggestion of Dom or Tyson is great. And Angela's like, dude, our agreement, we are working with them. Have you forgotten? And like, it's a little combative here. Like they're both just kind of arguing their points here. And I was like, oh gosh, I felt like both of them maybe were coming on too strong. No one was being like subtle, like, let's talk about it.
Well, I think Ben might have maybe started that energy, because he just was like, no. And like, then she's like, oh, you're not gonna like be a hard no, like I'm gonna push back. And so he does come around. So
yeah.
To me, it seems like he felt as though he kind of was putting the wrong energy into that conversation, or starting it off anyways. But I do think that he could have maybe gotten a compromise. Like I thought that the compromise was going to end up being Dom that goes in, being like, okay, I understand. And so is your friend. You don't want him to go up against David. Tyson's off the table. I can sacrifice Dom here, because Dom isn't somebody that he could necessarily, or isn't somebody that Angela necessarily wants to run the final with. So I think that she'd be okay with losing Dom here. And so I think that if he pushed back in a certain way, I think he could have gotten Enzo safe.
Maybe. I mean, she says she's taking Tyson off the table, like not an option at all. But they both like seemed like two bulls going against each other. No one was really giving space at this time. But yeah, the next day we sort of see Ben apologize a little bit. And it seems like after sleeping on it, he realized this Survivor Alliance deal with Angela and Alyssa is somewhat protecting him, and he wasn't quite ready to go against it. Would have been interesting to see him come back and be like, but what about Dom?
Yeah.
You don't want to run with Dom, do you, Angela?
Absolutely. Well, and one thing that Tyson said on his pod that he did was he actually used production as strategy. And so this is the first time that we're hearing about people being allowed to do that, because on Big Brother, we're not allowed to use production as strategy. Yeah. So apparently he said that he overheard production talking, and there is going to be one more round of like elimination. So it's would have maybe, if Ben got wind of this, might have scared him into thinking like, oh, if I go against that alliance, then maybe I'm going to get thrown in if there's another round of elimination. So that could be why he maybe came around as well. It could possibly.
Was Tyson saying he made this up though?
Yeah, he made it up.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
He made up that there's another round. There is another round that he overheard production.
Oh my God. Tyson is so good. Like that is
great.
Unreal.
If it's allowed, it's great,
Yeah. Well, we do see, before we see the apology from Ben, we do see Angela sort of catching Danny and Tyson up on like, Ben's not so like sold on this. Like I'm having to convince him. So it would make sense that Tyson was like, all right, let me play a little game here. That's very interesting. Well, I was surprised edit-wise. We like move really quickly, but I then realized it's because we have this drama that they're going to build up here. But Angela's like giving David a heads up of it is going to be Enzo going against you. Of course, he's upset and he's about to run over there. So Ben's like, oh crap, I got to give Enzo a heads up. And so now Enzo and David are upset. Then Angela's like, but this is how I protect myself, even though there are two guys that are now mad they're going into the arena.
And what I thought was really interesting about how David reacted, I get it. You're all from Big Brother, like, you're kind of expecting to protect each other, not throwing people in from Big Brother. I get it. But, like, you haven't really been doing that much for Angela. You know what I mean? Like, it's like she's not thrown you in for, 5 weeks, however long they've been there, like a good few rounds. Like, if push comes to shove, like when you're kind of down to the end here. And so he kind of was, I thought he overreacted a little bit for the fact that, like, you're not that close with Angela. You're not best friends, you know.
Well, and that was my question to him, because I wondered. I was like, wait, did he think that, or like, were they in an alliance? Did they have a Big Brother foursome going on here that we're just not seeing in the edit? Like, why is David so upset? But I mean, he confirmed, no, it was just him thinking, hey, we have a good relationship. We all play Big Brother together. Like, it was just nice.
That's great for day one. But, like, what are you going to do with it, right? Like, you still need to nurture these relationships. We always talk about people being like, oh, they're in really good position, and then they just stop nurturing the relationships that they have that are protecting them, and then they made other bonds and relationships and alliances with other people. And so I'm going to say that's at the fault of David for assuming that he didn't have to do any more work to keep the people that he was on the same show as, together. So I think it's his lack of really knowing how to play these games and no strategy really whatsoever.
So we do hear from Sarah during all of this hoopla where she's like, I am just so disappointed in Ben. Why is he so close to Angela?
She's so jelly.
So jelly. But then we also hear from a couple other ladies like Desi who are like, I don't want to run with Enzo. Like, we've got this guy cut in as Enzo's like, come on, why are you sending me in? And it's like, women are like, I don't want to run with him. I don't want to run with him.
I mean, I do like Enzo as a personality, and great. Like, he's done a great job with, like, coming out of eliminations, but this season, part of the strategy is to stay out of elimination. So it's like, yeah, it's great that you've saved yourself, but also, like, why are you there? You must not have been doing work either, like you lost elimination, or you're not doing strategically well in the house. So I was like, it's your time to go, Enzo.
Enzo's going to tell Angela, y'all better wish I don't come back in, because I'm going to start a war if I do. And honestly, at this point, I was like, you're not coming back in, Enzo.
I was like, yeah, this is all talk, but no action whatsoever. No, I was not scared.
I've been partially convinced ever since you were like, is David winning this season? I was like, Enzo, David's got you. Sorry.
I totally felt that way too, obviously.
Well, but now we're going to go into this arena, and it's called Balls In. It's basically a one-on-one basketball game, but round one, which first off, I was so confused by my rounds because he said 5 rounds, but a round is both sides of offense, defense. So I was like, why are we on round like 14 here?
It's kind of like volleyball styles where, like,
yeah,
or like, I guess even tennis is similar to that, right?
Oh, before we get into it, this is when TJ was like, oh, not Benzo. I was like, TJ knows about Benzo? What
is this? The producers really fed them. They're like, TJ, you're going to have to comment on Benzo. And he's like, oh, okay.
He was like, what? I was like, this is hilarious. Okay. Round one, they're both going to stop each other on offense, defense, but they put their all into round one, and that's it. That's all they had. They are so tired after round one.
Well, now, another thing that was mentioned was there's more rounds that actually happened. So apparently they went more than 5 rounds in the elimination, trying to break the 1-1.
Oh, the tie.
So I don't know, like, they might have been putting how gassed they were a little bit out of order. Like, it's really hard to tell, of course. But it went for longer, and they definitely were really, really tired.
And I'm not surprised because this kind of is an even match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like once they're sort of blocking each other and trying to play, they seem pretty well matched. So the fact that it was tied up and went even longer, I'm not surprised at all. But we do see David score in round 2. It looks like round 2 to us. And then I think it's a couple rounds before Enzo's able to score. But then, like, they're so tired. They're barely moving. When David does that shot, I personally was like, yes, finally, like, let's go do something different than just like climbing on each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, shoot the ball. But of course, he misses it. And
well, because he was just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, he was just so tired that he didn't take that time to aim and throw it in. I'm doing this from the side of my couch, of course. But like, if you're going to make that shot and it's going to take a lot of energy out of you, maybe take that second to try to line it up to make it worthwhile. You know what I mean? Instead of just like a willy-nilly, just like try to toss it in there, allowing it to be open for opposition.
No, he's way past being able to like focus and aim a ball. I mean, he was laughing about it in our exit interview together, where he was like, I wasn't thinking, this wasn't strategy. I was just like, throw the ball, like get it in. It was pretty funny, but it's not gonna work. And then I just like, finally we get a spot at the end where like Enzo's able to just get the ball and get it in, and all of a sudden Enzo's won, and I'm shocked.
Shocking. Enzo has the most money out of anyone in the game.
Just like Enzo jokes about like, I'm a night guy, I guess. Like, and TJ's like, okay, not much into the day game. Yeah, like this is just a joke because he has saved himself.
3 times.
Oh, 3 times. My gosh. But he can't seem to perform in the dailies.
Well, I think it's because the dailies they usually have a lot more elements to it. And the elimination rounds that he's done have not been that complicated. So like, one of them that I remember was the tires, running back and forth with the tires. Mm-hmm. Very straightforward, just needs some stamina and a decent strategy of stacking them. What was the second one?
I don't know. I didn't know he did 3.
It's definitely 3.
He wasn't the Hall Brawl, was he?
Was he?
He might have been the Hall Brawl.
He was Hall Brawl. So
which takes no strategy whatsoever. Like just run into a man half your size. Yeah.
Right. And then this one. So like there has been other eliminations that he could have very easily have lost because they would have had other elements where he's not as strong. But kind of all the ones that he's done are right in his wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. So, that's why he's the night guy. But I think it's like specific type eliminations he's decent at.
Well, David is out. He is not winning this season. That he is gone. I actually had a really fun interview with him. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. He, I think he knows he's an underdog, and, this is the best performance he's done in reality television. And he was ready to just laugh with me, which I appreciated. Are
you a David stan?
I can't say I'm a stan. But I really did feel like my journey with him came a long way. Like, mm-hmm. I chuckled when he was cast on the season. But now I'm like, okay, if he shows up on another season, I am not going to be shocked. Mm-hmm, right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I get it. And he said he's training. He's training hard. He wants to come back.
He wants to come back.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate people getting themselves into shape for these shows. The main season of the challenge, they always have people coming back, but they also have people on the show that come back all the time, but they don't do anything different and they're expecting different results. They'll be like, oh, I never make it to a final, or I always lose right before a final. And it's like, but they haven't trained or gotten any better, or, done the work to be able to get there. And so I appreciate anybody that does their homework and gets their body into shape to be able to do well in the challenge. So kudos to Davis.
Yeah. As long as he has learned a little bit more about the social gaming, right? Make some alliances, have some actual conversations. If he can make those tweaks, you know, I think the training, maybe he actually can be a contender. But this is so interesting because there was some line in here where Enzo was like, you know, so they're mad. There might be a water challenge and I might like let them down, whatever. I'm good. And then like we get a preview of like water, like there's obviously water in the final. And so he is more than likely going to let someone down unless this is an individual final.
It could be an individual final, but it also, when it's an individual final, usually they still trade off partners at some point. So like they don't always just like, do they ever just run completely by themselves? And it like the male female element has nothing to do with each other. I don't think that they would do it for the fact that there's been male and female working together for the whole season. I feel like it's going to come into play.
Yeah, I would imagine. But yeah, it's my first final here.
There's so many variables, so maybe. But I do feel as though Enzo will hold somebody back. Unless it's a purge. There might be a purge.
So this means our final dudes are Enzo, Dom, Ben, Danny, Tyson.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Did we only pick 4?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's probably going to be a purge of some sort. So,
right. So you think a female will go and then there'll be a purge of
maybe 2 teams or 1 team for sure. And then maybe lose another team partway through the final. Only 3 most likely will cross the finish line or not, but like 3 running to win.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm so confused. All right. Luckily it's just a couple days away. Very exciting. I have been informed that I will have all of this press on Thursday. There are 11 people left and they're being paired up. So I will have a bunch of different exit interviews on Thursday after the final. So I don't know how that grouping will play out, but I will find out eventually. And so that will be a very, very fun and interesting. There's several people here in this final that I am excited to talk to.
Yes, you're going to talk to like Tyson and Angela, which I think will be really, really exciting.
Tyson, Angela, Danny. Oh my God.
Desi actually also will be really like Sarah. Fun. And I just want to put it out there that like if we could do Friday afternoon again for the finale to do our little discussion. So I want to hopefully put that out there as a possibility.
Yes, I think that is fine. I think that sounds good. I will double check and we'll get back to you guys on a time, but that sounds good for Friday. It's a 2-hour finale this Wednesday, starting at its normal time. What's your predictions? What's happening? Who's gonna look good?
I feel like from the preview, like a couple of episodes ago, we had a end of season preview, and it looks as though Alyssa's going into an elimination of some sort. And it seems like it's a pole wrestle. So I don't see Alyssa beating any of the women that are left in a pole wrestle. So I do feel that we will lose Alyssa in this next round and she will not be running any part of the final. I think that Sarah is not going to do as well. I feel like maybe in a purge element of it that she might not figure things out, because we witnessed her not being able to do well at these dailies, like making silly, simple mistakes. But those silly, simple mistakes will cost you in the final. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did a purge and she messes up and isn't able to run. So right now, I think the people that will get it to the top 3 will be Angela, Desi, and I feel like Kayla's going to squeak in there because she's also very good at different things. And I do feel like some of the elements of the final could be in her wheelhouse. And Justine, as much as I think she's very strong, I'm worried that just her lack of experience of being on these type of shows might prevent her from being able to do all the different elements of the final. So I hope that I'm wrong, but I don't think that she's going to be one of the final 3 runners. So
interesting.
For the women, that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts about the women?
I definitely feel like Desi and Angela are solid set. I think I'm mixed on Kayla, Justine. I would probably put them as toss-ups because they have different skill sets, so it kind of depends. If for some reason Alyssa is thrown into a poll thingy with Kayla, I would be very worried. I don't know who comes out on top of that.
I feel like Kayla might be taller though than Alyssa, and that's very helpful in a pole wrestle. But
yeah, I think obviously Sarah would make it past whatever this first elimination is, but agree she might get tripped up there in the middle and not quite make it to the end. I just feel like Angela and Desi are the bankable ones. And then men-wise,
go ahead.
I mean, I know Tyson has been the front runner, but I just like the last few weeks.
I do
I feel like it's Danny just like creeping up. But I think Tyson and Danny are the 2 locks, I would say, if I were saying those 2.
Do you know what I'm really worried about? Angela being a vegan. Sometimes they make them eat bad food.
Oh no, do they do food challenges?
Sometimes. And even Fessy at one of the finals, I guess one of it was a pork product, and it was during, I believe, Ramadan, and so he was choosing not to eat.
Out of it.
And so I'm scared. And then it's still like, it just keeps on replaying in my mind when Tyson was like, he doesn't like some of the rules of the challenge and stuff like that. So I'm worried that maybe something like that happens.
Something happens. I can confirm something happens where the people who run the final have different perspectives on what went wrong. Right? That's the info I have, where seeing how it plays out and edited is actually very important because there are different perspectives on how it went down. What that means, though, I do not know.
I don't know. I don't know. Could it be that somebody decided to know how Janelle, she took her hand off the key for a second and then she lost part one of that final 300 household? Maybe it's something like that. Somebody oh wait, no, they stepped down beforehand and it determined an order or something. Maybe it's like that kind of thing.
It could be, or it could be like, I stepped ahead of you and you were like, no, that's illegal, I'm in front or something. And it's like, no, I got ahead of you and now I'm in the lead. It could be something minor like that, but where it's like, you did something wrong. No, I did something wrong.
Oh man, that's the thing, is that I don't want it to end that way. If it's a food thing that screws over anybody, not because of personal beliefs. I understand oh, that's gross, I don't want to eat it, it's taking me a long time, I'm gagging. Okay, that's one thing. But if it's part of your religion or part of some beliefs that you hold for yourself and you do not want to go against that, I respect anybody that doesn't want to go against that. Me personally, I would do it, but I can also respect someone that does not want to do that. So I hope that isn't the reason that it's going to take somebody out, because they are gross vegetarian things.
That stinks. I didn't know that was a possibility, and I would hate to see that, especially since we haven't even had a hint of that on the season. I kind of would have liked it earlier if it was going to be part of the show.
They don't necessarily do it earlier. It's usually, though, sometimes it's been hot peppers. Sometimes it's been different plates.
I'm okay with hot peppers because I don't think that's against anybody's moral beliefs. Exactly. And it's really difficult for everybody.
Yeah.
So that I'm on board with. I mean, I enjoy a good food challenge if it's something like that.
The hot peppers is really disgusting, though. Like,
Yeah.
It's great. Like, it's vegetarian safe.
Yeah.
And so, but like, it's just so snotty. And like,
oh yeah. But
gross.
for us, we're like, yeah, torture. Yes, I love it. Like, or anything else that's similar along those lines that is, I don't know, pigeon poo. Like, what is something like a delicacy somewhere, but it's not against anyone's moral beliefs? Then yeah, torture them. I'm here for it.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, I
okay.
definitely want to know how this all shakes out. I didn't know that that we're going to be watching to see what.
Yes,
really
we are
happened.
watching to see how this actually goes down. Yes, do know. But it's gonna be exciting.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Here for it.
You know how it all goes down.
That's right. So Tyson and Danny, we said, but was there a
100%.
third person for you?
Third.
Is it Ben?
Ben. Yeah, it's gonna be Ben.
Yeah.
Because we need to see the completion of that storyline. If Ben is going to be able to do better than Tyson, because he's like, I could beat Tyson in a final. Like, I'm not scared of him at all. Fine, I want to see it. So I want to see that battle for sure.
Yeah, I think Ben, Tyson, Danny might be it at the end. All right. Well, everyone who joined us in the chat, thank you so much. We appreciate you on this different day and time. And it sounds like we'll have a different day and time this week for the finale. So make sure you have your subscribe, notification, whatever, all that jazz. Chantele and I are covering Amazing Race Australia. So that is tomorrow.
I forgot.
Got to remind you to watch 3 episodes. That's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be live in a couple hours with David to talk about Big Brother this week, and then also the rest of the week and all that jazz. Okay, I think that's it. Anything for you, Chantele?
I will be doing the live feed update tomorrow morning. So I'm basically going to go and get caught up on today's feeds. And then it's the Bachelorette finale. I don't know if there's an episode tonight or if it's just tomorrow or it's tomorrow and next week. Like, I'm going to have to see the schedule. But no matter what, we'll be talking about the finale for that very soon, catching up on The Amazing Race Canada tomorrow as well. So that's kind of what's going on right now. All those shows are pretty much coming to an end. And then it's the fall season. So we're going to get some more Survivor content from us over at Reality Realness, as well as The Amazing Race and some of these new love shows. So
are you going to cover the Real Love Boat?
Yeah, I think we're going to cover the Real Love Boat. Give it a go. And so those are something to look forward to coming up in the fall.
Yay, we're almost there, you guys. We almost have our new shows. Very exciting. All right, well, if you're joining us later, please leave a comment. Let me know who you think is going to make it to the final, how you're feeling about who's left on the challenge. All right, we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.